Hello guys, thank you for watching. Welcome to Jatelo TV. Today I want to talk about honest communication with the children. I like talking about children issues because I have a space in my heart for the children. That's why I like talking about children issues. Okay, today our topic is about honest communication with the children. As you know, children are still in transition stage because they are growing and we need to handle them with a lot of care. Now, talking with your child is a daily event and we have to face this. As parents, we are busy and it can be easier to keep the conversation with children very light so that we can move to the next thing in our to-do list. There's a place for light conversation in daily life, but these are also those times when your child needs to know that you are tuned to him or her and listening deeply. Your child won't tell you this, but they need you to probe into their inner life on an occasion and to find out what they are thinking or feeling. It feels good when you are having a one-on-one conversation with your child and she or he is responding. Not only will this help them, but will also make them have a more sense of the inner emotions and also to strengthen your relationship with them. So it is important to have that conversation with your child, however light it is. They will intuitively sense that you understand them better because you took your time and energy to really care about them. Here are some of the help that we can use to be able to tune into our child skillfully and understand and have their full attention. Because you see, when children are growing, sometimes they are not emotionally stable, and we have to know how to deal with them so that also we build their emotions. So one is to listen with your whole body. When having a conversation with a child, you need to listen to a child. When you sense that a child needs to talk, you need to give them full attention. This can be done by facing the child, making eye contact. You can kneel down and get to your child's level if necessary. Even tilt your head so that the child will understand that you are really listening and engaged in the conversation. Then another thing that you need to do when having a conversation with a child is to pick up the emotion. When your child has noticeable emotion in their words or in their body language, you attend to that feeling immediately. It's often useful to make an observation or restate what you hear them saying. This sends a message that you are taking them seriously and you are also feeling them and having their feelings seriously. For example, you can tell a child that you are upset because I'm not letting you go outside to play after this dark. You see, this reflective statement then allow your child to respond by affirming or clarifying what they are feeling, and it will usually prompt them for more conversation. Then what you need also to do is to acknowledge your child's feeling. You need to acknowledge your child's feeling. Empathy is one of the most powerful and comforting response we can give to one another, especially a child. And when you acknowledge those feelings, you validate them. These include those feelings we often think of as negative, such as anger, frustration, and disappointment. Often, acknowledgement of the feeling is all that a child needs to begin dealing with the problem or a situation at hand. When you validate a child's emotion, you sensitize them to that emotion and give them the permission to feel it and also acknowledge it in other people. So it's very important to acknowledge a child's feeling. Another point which is very important is we need to delay correction and gather more information. In a case where a child has done something that you see as not correct, you can delay correction and gather more information. When your child, for example, is countering you, resist the urge to correct them immediately. Even if you think they are wrong, hear them out before responding. Better yet, go an extra step by asking your child follow-up questions to learn about the situation or to learn about why he sees things the way he is seeing them. This approach acknowledges your child's feeling and gets them talking. You are likely to get more cooperation when you are willing to hear their concerns versus simply correcting them. And therefore it also builds a relationship, because now if something is wrong, the child will say, oh, my father, my mother is ready to listen. I can go and explain. And that is very, very, very important. Another point is to try to see the situation through your child's eye. You see, we as parents, we are able to see a situation. You can see a situation through your child's eye. Try to step in your child's frame of reference before reacting. We often expect our children to understand adult-like ways of thinking, and we don't give consideration to how they might be thinking or viewing the situation. So you see, these children are still growing, and the way they see things are totally different from the way parents see things. So you have to understand through what they are going through. You can also cut what developmental needs they might have at that moment that they can't directly identify or ask you and intervene. For example, as you and your spouse are leaving the house for a much needed night out, your child has emotional meltdown in front of the babysitter because they don't want you to leave. You could get upset, you could ignore the child, or you could ask yourself, what is my child trying to say right now? What need might they have that I should be attentive to? For example, are they upset because of plea for comfort, security, reassurance, or something else that you don't understand? When you can see that certain behavior are connected to their development needs, it's easier to be rational and patient with appropriate intervention. Then the next point is to avoid shaming your child, but rather focus on behavior. Shaming a child diminishes their worth. For example, a 10-year-old boy knocked over his milk at dinner table the third time in a week, and his father explodes in anger, saying, "You idiot! Can't you be more careful?" You see, over time, these instances of shame make the child feel defective. It really erodes the character of a child, and the child will feel defective. So a better approach is to focus on the behavior. Given the same situation, the father could say, "It's okay, let's get a towel and clean it up. It's just a mistake. Please ask others to pass items to you when you are at the table and not reaching for them by yourself. Is it okay?" Yes, the child will resonate with those words, and the child will be very much comfortable. So a child doesn't know how to correct being defective, but he can learn to correct his behavior if given correct instructions that are supportive and in an encouraging way. Then the last point is to encourage your child to think proactively about solutions. You see, children, when they are growing, they face a lot of situations which require decision making. That a decision that you and your child disagree on, ask your child what he wants to happen or what he would like to change. This helps them see that there are options to every problem. If they can come up with a reasonable approach to a problem, let them try it. When we encourage our children to become part of the solution, we often have a greater motivation for resolving it. So those are some of the points that we need to look at for open and honest communication. Those are some of the points that we as parents, we need to look at when communicating with our children, and this can help build the children character, can also help build children in terms of communication. So I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.